Hello, fellow Minecrafters. Gearsaw Studios here. Today I'm going to show you how to build an igloo, so that way you can live in your favorite cold biomes without having to run from shelter to shelter. However, before I begin, remember, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. So, with that, onto the tutorial. For this build's palette, we are going to be using packed ice, normal ice, andesite, deep slate tiles, stone bricks, and snow. All the cold blocks are going to be used for the exterior and the first floor, while the hidden basement is going to have the stone-like blocks. Also, you should probably find a rather flat area for this, so you might have to flatten out an area for yourself, like here. Now, with our flat area ready, start by just placing down some snow blocks. But make sure that you have an entrance to your place, because it's not going to be too good if you can't make it in there. So an entrance like this should be pretty good. So extend it out, and make sure to blend it into the actual igloo. So start by placing all that out, and progressively just make it kind of like a cylinder, because remember how igloos look in real life? They're kind of circular, so try to replicate a circle. Now we have a nice cylinder to begin building off of. So it's pretty basic right now, but what you can do is add some ice for windows, because of course we still need to finish this. These aren't going to be forever windows in case you make some design reworks. But what you have to do now is you need to make this extend upward. So you gotta do some things like this, and progressively just make it end in some sort of curve, so that way it's like a half sphere. If you're trying to build a giant igloo, be careful, because spheres in Minecraft can get hairy pretty quick when you try working on them. So, if need be, reduce the size of your igloo, because don't forget, we're going to have a basement, like the actual Minecraft igloos do. So, don't push yourselves too hard with its size. Now, we have an igloo top, and it looks pretty cool, but there's something we can do to make it cooler. An issue with ice is that it melts. So if you have furnaces up here, these ice blocks might melt and just flood your entire house. So a solution for getting some light in is simply just making a sunroof out of ice like this. No one's going to really see it unless you're flying above, and it's just a neat detail even if you do somehow see it. And when you're on the inside, it just looks plain cool. So I highly recommend doing a sunroof like this. Also, make sure that you do some touch-ups on the outside, because no matter how good you think you are, you might need to do some touch-ups here and there, because this might actually look better. So just experiment with different things and see what looks best. With a neat exterior, which I'm going to show off later, it's time to work on the interior, because sure, it's a good igloo, but you can't exactly live in it if it doesn't have an interior. Although, you could just have an exterior and just look at it. But what you should do is clean out any snow that may have fallen or was just already there. So, clean out all the snow and make an outline like this. Oh, it should be made out of snow, but it could also be made out of andesite, or if you just want to go with a more polished look, just any other block that looks more formal than some snow and packed ice, which I'm going to do. The nice blue will contrast with the white, and it will have a slippery thing to it. So you're going to just slip around, and that might be fun to some. Now we have a neat floor design, but we can add to it with just some nice carpets. So, just like this, you should start placing some carpets with a nice outline, or if you know any better carpet designs than this, go use those. So now we have a neat carpet in the middle, and we still slip around. So if you do not particularly like the slipperiness, then just remove it from under the carpets. Of course, you're still going to slip around on this, but that's a lot less worse than what could be under this carpet. So do that if you want. Now, it's time to actually work on the inside. So we have everything done that I wanted to do with just the normal stuff we have here. So first, place a door, because you aren't going to have a very secure house without a door. But don't have it right at the front, because that's just going to look weird. So have it like this, and that's pretty good. I placed down some of the blocks you'll need to just survive in general, and you should place down more of them. Along with that, you can start placing down a blast furnace, and a smoker all together. But be careful. If you keep it exactly how I'm building it, it might melt this ice right here. So I'll test that in a moment. So we have the smokers, the blast furnaces, and the furnaces. And we should just put everything else, except a brewing stand, an enchanting table, and anything to do with like smithing tables and such, because that's for the basement. So I've placed down more essentials, and I've noticed that if you try smelting stuff, it does indeed melt the ice. So you have to do something about that. You could either use glass, just have a hole. You could use stained glass, but I went with the flower pot with the blue orchid, because that looks best. So this up part is looking pretty good. Maybe a couple torches or other lighting sources, but otherwise it's looking pretty good so far. But of course, I'm trying to keep this true to Minecraft's actual igloos. So it's time to begin the basement. So hidden under this carpet, there should be a trap door. I prefer dark oak, but you can use something else. And just have a nice little tunnel going all the way down to a deep level. Don't forget to line this thing with stone bricks, because it will otherwise be a very weird looking thing going down. Now, at the bottom of this place, we have the beginnings of a room. What you should do is excavate a decently large area so that way you can actually fill this place up. So, get to digging. Now, with this area excavated, what you should do is you should start lining the walls with a polished andesite pattern, kind of like this. So, you might have to change the room's dimensions to make the design fit. So, once you have that done, make the bottoms polished andesite, make the walls stone bricks, and don't forget to make the floor deep slate tiles, because it contrasts quite nicely. So I've done all the wall design stuff, I did the floor, and I decided I'd do something similar to the walls with the ceiling. And for this, we have some nice copper blocks, a block that I want to try to use more of. So right now, the room's looking pretty nice, but there's something you need to remember. Because we don't have an enchanting setup or anything like an anvil or grindstone upstairs, we need to put something down here. So, dig out this part of the wall and just make a small area for enchanting. All it has to be is an enchanting table, some lapis in a barrel, and just bookshelves. So, pretty simple. Over here, just place down what you need, and that's it. Along with that, you can make a small area here with brewing stands. So we have everything down here, but there's something we need to pay attention to, this back wall. So if you find a basement igloo, normally there's a villager in a cage and a zombie villager in a cage with a sign and some stuff lying around to try to make you cure one. So we're going to do something similar. So dig out a nice area, and there's chunk rendering in 1.18 in a nutshell. But digging out this area, and then place down a bed and some other comfort items, so that way the villager doesn't look sad. Also, you might want to use glass instead of iron bars, because that looks a little happier than just a cage. So do something along the lines of that. Now we have some nice decorated rooms for the two subjects of the experiment. So in this room, I'm going to place down a villager, and in the other room, I'm going to place down a zombie villager. But this is peaceful mode, so I'm going to have to switch it for a moment. So now that it's no longer on peaceful mode, we can now have our zombie villager. So we have our two subjects for this experiment, and we should place down a sign to demonstrate how each one converts into each other. So just a simple sign, spruce, oak, dark oak, whatever, and place down some arrows. So something like this will suffice. So it might be a little hard to do it initially, but trust me, it's pretty rewarding when you just see this, and now you have something to display the relationship. Now, this is all cool and all, but this room does need something, since it's in the basement, and people don't typically go to the basement that often when there's just this happy igloo up here. So, going back down here, and using spectator mode for some quick fast travel, you should texture the build a little. So, what I mean is use some mossy stone bricks and stuff, and just some cracked stuff, and just scatter it around because it just adds a little bit more wear and tear into the build. It makes it look like someone actually lives here. With the various cracks and mosses added into the build, it looks pretty good right now because it makes it look like someone's lived in here and someone's had a couple accidents or has not kept up on their cleaning, which just makes it look more lived in. Along with that, don't forget, you have the upper floor, and what you can do here is you can hide up the basement just like that. So, you have an amazing build going on here. You have just a simple exterior with some ice windows, but once you go inside, you have a secret basement where you can set up a little villager breeder or villager trading hall, and you have your other things that you'll need that don't exactly fit into the actual igloo. Overall, I'd say this is a very good build. So, I was about to end this tutorial before I realized something. There's actually no bed in this entire thing. So, just quickly place down a bed before you actually call it home. With the tutorial done, this wraps up day 8 of the 12 days of Gearsaw. So, with that, it's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed this video, remember, please like and subscribe. It really helps me out. So, with that, take care. 1.18 Optifines out, which means I can zoom in intensely. Gearsaw out.